July of 2023. Now, if Irving opts out, he will be an unrestricted free agent next month when he could either agree to a new deal with the Nets or seek one elsewhere. As for his air quotes list, it includes the Los Angeles Lakers, the Clippers, New York Knicks, Miami Heat, Dallas, Philadelphia 76ers, according to sources. Not one of those, though, have the cap space for a sign and trade. All right, so let's talk about this with our man, Tim Doyle, and where things stand right now. Tim, there are reports saying he will indeed opt out. If he does do that, which one of the 6 teams that are on that list have the best shot at getting him, and why is it the Lakers?
Because LeBron James, the general manager. Oh, did I say that out loud? Are you not allowed to say that, Jeremy? Okay. And LeBron James has built a team over the last few years. Let's not forget, they did win a championship in the bubble with Anthony Davis, and they went through an awful lot. But LeBron James wanted Russell Westbrook. He got him. How'd that work out? He wants Kyrie Irving, and I think at the end of the day, they're going to figure out a way to get Kyrie out in LA playing for Lakers. But I'll say this. If I'm a general manager, I'm not touching Kyrie Irving with a 10-foot pole. I'm not going to put my reputation, my big house that my kids, my expensive cars that I drive, and my kids live in that big house. I'm not putting all that on Kyrie Irving. It's not because the guy isn't talented. He's immensely talented. Anybody who's watched basketball knows that he's one of the greatest shot makers of all time. He's won an NBA championship. He even tweeted at Barstool Sports, like, stop making so much money on my name. The game has no doubt, but there's so much more to him. He's so complex in the locker room, off the court. Obviously, it's been a drama-filled relationship there with the Nets. But that's exactly what I expected. Why? Because when you bring in Kyrie Irving, this is what's going to follow. So he belongs in LA. And isn't this amazing? The NBA season, Jeremy, just ended with an NBA championship. And now all of a sudden, we got all the drama. It's like a soap opera in the NBA.
Yeah, and Tim, I mean, how rich do you have to be to leave $30 million on the table if you're Kyrie?
I said this once to a rich guy, and $30 million means something to different people. To me and you, it means it's a lot of money. You know what I mean? But to someone else who already has $100 or maybe even $200 million, it's not as much money. So for Kyrie, he's always bounced to his own drummer, and whether it's the world being flat or obviously not getting the vaccine shot, playing for the Nets and causing all that drama with his teammates. I think that's why Harden's no longer on Brooklyn, right? Because it was like we aren't all pulling in the same direction. This isn't about a vaccine stance. I think it was more about everyone just kind of being on the same team, pulling in the same direction. So I'll say this: if I was a general manager, I would not sign up with them.
Okay, so the Lakers, let's talk about them. 16-1 to win the NBA title, plus 850 to win the West. So overall, when you look at their situation, I mean, what do they need to do to become the favorites in the West?
They need Kyrie Irving. That's what they need. They need something to shock the system. At the end of the day, the Russell Westbrook experiment did not work. That was just eyeball test. You don't even have to be a basketball guru or even to dive inside the numbers. But you pair him with a healthy Anthony Davis. Obviously, LeBron James averaged 30 points a game last year. They would have to figure out some of their chemistry issues. Bringing in Carmelo Anthony was not the answer. So they're really going to have to figure out a way to, bring in a Kyrie Irving. Hopefully him and LeBron get back on the same page and, find the right fit there. But LeBron's the general manager of that team, Jeremy. So if he wants Kyrie Irving, I would bet that he gets Kyrie Irving.
Yeah, the $6 million mid-level exception is what it would take. And probably going to have to deal Westbrook in order to make that happen as well. Kevin Durant, he's watching this situation with his own future in mind. He says, look, I can't be involved in this Kyrie decision. KD just saying, look, that's this man's livelihood. But just in case, I mean, teams are lining up possible trade offers if KD does become available. Who's the best trade candidate for KD at this point?
Yeah, I would love for him to go to Dallas. I think that Luka Doncic, this would be the scariest pick and roll in the entire NBA with Luka and Kevin Durant. Obviously, both guys can get whatever shot they want at any time, but this is a championship caliber move, and you got to think that Durant's got ties. He went to Texas, albeit just a year, and the guy could certainly go out there and score, but wouldn't his life be so much easier playing with Luka Doncic, right? Like Luka getting him shots, Kevin able to play off the ball. Then when Luka goes to the bench and Kevin can go out there and be the man. He's always had a savvy business mind, Kevin Durant. And now you get to play for Mark Cuban. Jeremy, I remember when Mark Cuban bought the Mavericks. It was like outrageous that when he got the team and bought the team, that he tripped out the locker room. Oh, this owner here puts flat screens in all the locker rooms. He actually has PlayStations in the players' lockers. And they got new showers. And it was like, at that time, Jeremy, that was like revolutionary stuff. But Mark Cuban's always been, 2 steps ahead of everybody as far as owning professional teams. And go check when he bought the Mavericks and what they're worth now. He obviously made a pretty profit on that. And he also has the foresight, Mark Cuban, of going to the Elam ending, which all NBA needs to do. They need to go to a final score, especially in the regular season. I think about every NBA regular season game ends on a game-winning shot. That's what you remember most, not fouling and threes. And don't get me started. Durant to Dallas? Oh, I'm excited about that, Jeremy.
Okay, so they're sitting at plus 850 right now to win the West, 16-1 to win an NBA title. So if they bring in a guy like KD, what does this do for them in terms of turning them into favorites?
I think they're the favorite. You get Kevin Durant and Luka Doncic because Kevin Durant, he's turning around the corner right now to the home stretch of his career, especially coming off an Achilles injury. I'm not saying he's done, but, this isn't out of the starting gates for him. He's had a Hall of Fame career. He's arguably the greatest scorer in the history of the NBA, just flat out go out there and get buckets. And if he was wearing maybe 2 size shoes smaller, he didn't step on the line against the Bucks. Maybe they did win an NBA championship there in Brooklyn. But if they get Durant, Mavericks are the favorite.
Okay, so that's the situation with KD. Let's talk about Miami. I mean, they were 1 win away from their second appearance in the NBA Finals in 3 seasons. Now the roster retooling begins. PJ Tucker expected to leave, possibly for Philly. They're plus 700 to win the East, 3rd highest odds. What do the Heat need to do this summer to become favorites?
I think that PJ Tucker has to say that sentence to himself like 15 times. I'm leaving Miami for Philadelphia. I'm leaving Miami for Philadelphia. Like, if you say it enough, PJ, you won't end up doing it, okay? I think the Heat are a superstar away. Now, is Tyler Hero going to be that superstar? He could be. I'm not saying he's not going to be. He's so young and he's still so early in his career. But how about go out there and add Donovan Mitchell? There's been so much friction in Utah ever since the old Rudy Gobert gave everybody COVID on the Jazz that him and Gobert weren't seeing eye to eye. And if you watched them in the playoffs, don't forget, they won Game 1 in Dallas. Man, they just laid a massive egg the rest of the series. And to me, eyeball test, they were lacking a certain synergy, a certain chemistry. I don't think he gets necessarily the love that he deserves because he's not in an enormous market. I think that he's got a great work ethic, and that's one thing when you go to Pat Riley, he's seen it all, said it all, done it all. Like, you're going to go there and you are going to work extremely hard. And I think Donovan Mitchell has that reputation. Play alongside Jimmy Butler. Jimmy's not easy. Jimmy's not for everybody. I think that Donovan Mitchell can get along with him. And I thought Kyle Lowry gutted it out there. He's not the same player. He's older. Showed a lot of heart this year. I have a lot of respect for his game. But he's obviously in like mid-stretch of his career wrapping up, where Donovan Mitchell, I think, is still reaching his zenith point. He'd go grab him. He's probably a favorite in the East. All
right. And since we did talk about the Mavericks, I mean, we might as well just talk about the Knicks on the other side of that to kind of bookend that conversation. Reports say that they're ready to offer Mavs guard Jalen Brunson a 4-year, $100 million deal to get him to the Big Apple. What does he do to make the Knicks a contender in the East?
I think he gives them validity in the locker room. I think that he has great leadership qualities. Obviously, he's won national championship in college, and he's gone to the pros unheralded, underappreciated, and he has made his bones. So I think you bring in a guy like this is like a pro's pro. I think this clearly helps your organization. I think that he rallies the young guys. What a great guy from Emmanuel Quickly to learn from. But does this put you over the hump? No. Does this make you an 8 seed in the East? Maybe. So is that what you're playing for right now? The New York Knicks, when I was growing up my whole life, Jeremy, go New York, go New York, go. There was real championship aspirations. And everybody in New York goes, James Dolan's got to sell the team. This right now. James Dolan is never, I repeat, ever going to sell the team. Look at the Taylor Swift song. Like ever getting back together. Like never ever. So he's the genius. He bought sports franchises. Anybody that bought a sports franchise, they're all geniuses because at one time they were worth $200 or $300 million, and now they're worth $2 or $3 or $4 billion. So why would you sell that? Anyone with a right mind is not going to sell the team. But there seems to be a culture and air about James Dolan where, they don't know who they are. And how do you win? You got to draft well. And what did the Knicks do this year? They didn't draft. So, look at the teams that win every year. It's teams that go out there. Draymond Green, Klay Thompson, Steph Curry, all drafted by the Warriors. Boston drafted Marcus Smart, Brown, Tatum, all drafted. So you got to build through the draft. You got to get smart. So, getting back together. But me and you, we're always together, pal.
Yeah. Hey, hang on. Noah, can you throw up that graphic again? I think this might be one of the greatest graphics we've ever had in terms of the New York Knicks. Tim, look at that, right? I mean, that just explains the Knicks to you, certainly in the last little while. So, all right, thanks, producer Noah. By the way, Knicks plus 8,000 to win the East, 200 to 1 to win the NBA title. All right, free agency starting on Thursday, 6 p.m. Eastern time. What bet are you making today related to the coming flurry of deals?
I think that if the Heat get Donovan Mitchell, now let's get excited. You know what I mean? Let's get excited about the Miami Heat. But the team that I'm most excited about for the NBA championship, I'm ride or die. Let's do the giddy right now. I'm all about the giddy. I'm all about Ja Morant. I think the Grizzlies gave the Warriors the best series of any team out there in the NBA. That's right. So here I am doing the gritty. It's not that great. I'm sitting down. I got shorts on in my parents' basement. But if you add in, you go out there and you get a little veteran presence. I think Jaren Jackson Jr. learned a little bit with no Ja Morant in the playoffs, because let's not forget, he got hurt in that series against Golden State. They got some beef with the Warriors. They're trending in the right direction. I talked about so many people around the final turn, in the deep stretch. This is a team that's just leaving the starting gates of their career, and they have an unselfish superstar, and they have Jaren Jackson Jr. There is value here with the Grizzlies, and they ain't scared. You can't be scared, as Usher said, or is it Ursher? All right, they're not scared. They have the recipe. They have a superstar. The Grizzlies, giddy to the championship next year.
Wait, are you saying giddy or gritty?
I think it's gritty, to be honest.
It is
I'm
the
not
gritty.
sure.
It is the gritty. Amanda just clarified. Isn't it the gritty? Yeah. All right. CBS Sports basketball wagering expert, NBA analyst Tim Doyle, tee you things up as we get set for free agency on Thursday, which 6 p.m. Eastern time. Doing the giddy. Maybe that's what we'll call it for Doyle. It's just called the giddy. There's the NBA title odds for next season. Warriors 5-1, Celtics 6-1, Bucks and Clippers plus 750. Then you have the Nets at plus 850, Phoenix Suns 9-1.
Do you want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis, no yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.